Jump up to get your pieces here.
This is the MrSan44Man Detroit Raw Show, only on YouTube, a PIE Productions. And now, MrSan44Man. What's up, world? It's your man, MrSan44Man, seen in 80+ countries around the world. Check this out. You know, I've been talking about these kids. You know I've been talking about these kids. I'm not doing too much because today was really a bad day. It's raining. It's been raining. I did a little gardening, stuff like that, you know, just to get my plants and stuff together. Yes, MrSan44Man plants and do things like that. Calms me down and relax me. You should all try it. But anyway, I went to see my son's lawyer. I'm done. I'm not paying for my son's representation. I'm letting him go on his own, solo. I can't do it. My son is into a lot of shit that I can't deal with. And maybe some of you parents can take note on this. Sometimes we gotta let these kids go. When they feel like that they got the open door and know what they're gonna do, then maybe we should let them go. But with that said, I'm going to show you something on here about black men. It's talking about our young men, and it's talking about how we dying at alarming rates. I want you to take a look at this, and then I'm going to get back with you. It's your man, MrSan44Man, keeping it real.
They have to live without a father, not knowing who their father was.
Detroit is hurting because our people are just killing our kids, and it has to stop somewhere.
With his life taken by someone that don't care anything about him, just shut down like a dog.
Just a small sampling of family members pleading for justice after their loved ones are gunned down.
And part of an alarming trend now happening nationwide, more young African men die from murder than suicides, accidents, and diseases combined. Joining us right now, the three people who are working hard every day to change those statistics and improve the future for young black men.
On the panel, Casey Wilburn, she is the principal at Mumford High, who recently made headlines for her success in improving security and lives at Detroit's Denby High. Next to her, Tyma Winfrey, the chief of staff for the Education Achievement Authority, the state's newly formed committee dedicated to fixing failing public schools. He is also active in mentoring young black men to stay out of trouble.
And then there's Marquise Herring, a former Fox 2 intern who made great impressions here and is making great impressions as a mentor in Detroit. Welcome to the panel. Let me start with Casey Wilburn. You were in Denby for a long time, now Mumford High School. You've seen in real life the numbers that we talked about. Why are black men dying?
I think
Why?
The city of Detroit has a youth problem, and part of the youth problem is that we have a parenting problem, and the culture has become that of violence, and so that's what's celebrated. And until we do something systemically to change what's happening with the culture of the kids, then we're going to continue to get the same thing.
By the time they get to high school, is it too late?
It's never too late.
It's more of a challenge?
It's more of a challenge, but it's never too late.
You have, and you are famous for this, really, you have a bat in your office, and you're not afraid to use it. Tough love, it might be. It's also a form of discipline. Do you think that that's missing in the lives of young people, and especially young black men today?
Absolutely. I think discipline is something that's very important, and I think that parents have to support the processes that are in place in schools to make sure that the students have that structure, because the structure is important.
Let me get Tyrone Winfrey. I know that you're now with the EAA and you've been mentoring students for a long time, but a lot of the statistics that I've read, it's black on black problems. Is this a problem that is unique to the city of Detroit? because of the population that we have here in the city?
I would say it's unique to the city of Detroit, but I am concerned about the city of Detroit. I was working with some young males today. The amount of hopelessness and helplessness that you can see within them. And at the same time, talking about the parents making excuses for their behavior. That's appalling.
Absolutely.
And they're out there killing each other. The blood is in the streets. The key thing is when you look at our African-American males and you think about they don't understand from whence they come. I was talking to some males today about Frederick Douglass and Ralph Bunche and Dr. Charles Drew, let alone, Rosa Parks and Dr. King. But think about, and also within their own families, if they knew who they were, and the shoulders they stand on, I don't think they could do something.
Well, why don't they know who they are?
Well, maybe it's a miseducation. And that's one thing we have to do. And also, not only educate them, but also help them with activities to get involved in. When you think about Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs, one is a belonging need. Gangs like 22 Band Crew in Detroit and RTM, and you can go on, they feel a belonging need that sometimes we're not getting to them with. They have to be involved.
And Marquise, you mentor young black men. You work with them every day. You say it really comes down to how they feel about themselves.
Yes, as we were speaking earlier in the green room, I was saying that, I think that overwhelmingly our African-American young men, they don't love themselves. And if you don't love yourself, how can you love someone else? Because if you really loved yourself, you would think twice about picking up a gun and taking someone else's life.
Who looks just like you.
Who looks just like you.
Well, what do you do to change that mindset? I mean, is it a cultural issue? Where does it start? It starts with the parents at home, or is there more to blame?
I think there's more to blame. I think culpability rests with everyone, and to some degree we have definitely failed our children, but we have to now at this point begin to hold parents accountable, establish a certain level of expectations, and be consistent with it. And we definitely need a greater police presence.
Well, what do you say to them? Help me understand this. I want to understand. I'm truly fascinated by this, but I don't get it. A kid goes to high school, maybe they're in a gang, we just heard about guns. That's a very big percentage, or a large percentage, not a lot, but it's a large percentage of
Absolutely.
the kids that you're dealing with in the Detroit schools. And you're telling me that you're going to go to a parent and hold the parent accountable because the kid has a gun or is in a gang? Is that even practically possible?
I think it's definitely practically possible, and I think it's necessary. If we are to create schools that are exemplars for excellence, we have to begin to establish standards, safety and security, and we have to hold people accountable, period.
Jail? How do you hold them accountable? Parents, no.
Consequences, whether it's jail or whatever, the parents have to be held accountable. I'm a parent as well. I have 3 children. And when you think about, years ago before I was in college admissions, I worked in juvenile probation. And one of the things we did, and we're working on doing this with EA schools, every young male that came on my caseload had a treatment or action plan. That plan laid out goals that young man had to have, steps to reach the goal, methodologies, as well as expected outcomes. We're just basically sending kids to school sometimes. Yes, we're educating them, but we got to look at their behavior as well and give them consequences. And also parents have to have goals and have expected outcomes as well.
Well, sometimes though we've seen that it's really just a matter of survival. These in a vicious cycle. They want to make money, a quick way on the streets, and then they gain their street cred by going to jail, going to prison, and they're back out there. How do you break that vicious cycle, Marquise?
One thing we do in our mentoring program is we start with exposure. We try to take our young men on trips to different colleges, to universities, so they can see that it is a life outside of the life that they live. See, one of the things that we say is that you can't be what you can't see. And so many of our young men can't dream to be a college student because they've never seen that. One thing I'm always telling my young man is that I was once you. I'm a graduate of Northwestern High School in the city of Detroit. I went to Wayne State University. I know what it's like to come from those impoverished communities.
Well, what was the key for you?
There was someone who took me to a university and exposed me to something different than the life that I was already living.
And I guess the question I have is that is there a perception that young kids need to be in a gang? They need to have a gun? Is that
if they're not playing football or basketball and drama or band, they have to belong to something. And when you look at Dr. Newman and his wife, Dr. Newman, as well, two social psychologists from the University of Michigan, they talk about in the developmental stages of that 15 to 17, if they're not in a group, they're going to be ostracized. Do you want to be ostracized?
No.
Do you want to not be in something? So basically, and now because of Facebook and Twitter and YouTube, they're also they're not only hanging together in the schools, but they're also communicating through those means of those mechanisms.
So maybe the high school's way too. We should start first grade.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. Sure.
Yes.
That young. How do you reach a child that young then?
I think it's in the relationship that you have with the child. And so that's why it's important to have conversations with your kid.
I mean, you have a son right now, and
Sure.
he is afraid to live in the city of Detroit.
My son feels that he has better chances being a Marine than being a black male in the city of Detroit.
I mean, what does that say about this city?
It says that the city is on life support, and either we are going to address the situation right now, or we will all be at risk of not being here.
It also says we have to stand up. We have now situations in Detroit that young people not only fighting at schools, but they go to the home of the person they had a fight with and call the student out of their home. I dare somebody to come over my house and call my son or daughter out.
So how do you allow children to dictate the culture and climate of a community, and they don't pay bills or taxes?
Who's calling the shots?
Right. I'm paying mortgage and taxes and DT energy and all that, and you gonna call me out of my house? We have to take a stand, and that's what's going on with our young people. They basically said, you know what, the adults have laid down. We're just gonna take over.
They don't value education, do they?
Oh yeah.
Or life.
Life. You know, educate, let alone education.
Are you afraid?
No.
In the city of Detroit?
I can't be. I grew up in the city of Detroit. Other than going away to college, I've been in Detroit all my life. How am I going to be afraid of somebody that never has paid a bill or done something in their life? And I'm going to be afraid of them?
They have no value.
Holla at your boy, MrSan44Man. I ain't playing it either.
You know what? I can't be afraid.
Can't.
You can't be intimidated. And you have to have that same presence when you go into these schools. I'm going to be afraid of you.
I learned something.
Exactly.
A good colleague of mine, William Tandy, said. He said, when real men stand up, the boys will sit down.
You hear that?
Once the real men really stand up, and I'm not talking about a million-man march, but really stand up.
Individuals.
Own the community.
Exactly.
And teach boys how to be young men and respectful men, then we will begin to solve our own problem. And when I say we, I mean black people, because we are the ones who are dying.
And that's a sister talking to us,
I'm a
brothers.
kid that's going to your mentoring program. I don't want to be there. I've got my gang friends. I don't want to be. I was forced. Whatever. Talk to me. What do you say to me? You can tell my attitude is not going to listen.
They're different. It depends on the kid. All kids are different. And I think you have to find your in. One thing I try to do sometimes, I ask them, I might say to them, I like your hair. You know what I'm saying? You have waves in your head, man. How do you have those waves? Or you play basketball, man. You know, challenging them always seems to work sometimes too. When you say you play basketball, I bet you can't beat me. You know, it's always your in. You look for your in with them. And usually when you start a relationship with them and they see that you care, they see that you're not just there for a second, they buy in.
And one of the, when you talk about what you do with your mentoring group, one of the things I found, whether I worked in juvenile probation or whether I worked with college students that were going to the greatest universities in the world, it was a matter of exposure and trust with those young people. If they trusted you, you had no problem.
Right. The bottom line, mentors can be friends, but parents need to be parents, and it needs to start there. All right, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your thoughts.
Sad topic, fascinating.
What's up, world? It's your man, MrSan44Man, seen in 80+ countries around the world. What did y'all think about that? You know, it's all real. But see, here's the thing that kills me. And once I say it again, if the production of slavery never presented its ugly face in this fucking country, we wouldn't be going through the things of the black men now. We have been stripped of our names. We have been stripped of our culture. We have been stripped of everything. And we built this country. America, if you sit back and say that it's because these black kids don't, Why are these black kids acting like this? Why has this happened? Why don't these black kids have a future or determined to do something with their lives? Ask yourself, America, why? White people know that y'all had slavery. Why do you continuously act like that this is a problem that should have never happened? Because we all jumped off on the starting block together. We did not. We did not. And now because the black man has no title, no say-so, no really respect, in 2013, we back to 1966, 1958, all those years prior. These kids don't have a clue. We got parents that have sit back and let kids do what they want to do because they didn't have no say-so. American government made sure that when they said, if your parents beat you, call 911. So when you did that, you also broke up the household. If a man had his household together. Disciplining your child now can get you put in jail. Go figure that. And then you ask the question, why are these kids out here like that? Because the parents has no substance. The parents have no control. The parents can't tell these kids what to do. And then half of y'all scared of y'all kids. I mean, let's just keep it real and keep it raw. That's why the fuck I got this station that's going to show what I'm talking about. It's real and raw, y'all. You know that y'all scared of y'all kids. You got your kids in your house right now telling you what the fuck going on because they sell dope. Mamas out there rolling in the clubs with their daughter to pick up some young cat that you going by the lead of your daughter because she got a better body than you got and your body breaking down. Now you trying to float with your daughter to get some young cat. He ain't got nothing. He can't help you. Barely can help your daughter. But that's what we do within our community because that's all we have. To live and feed and suck off others. I'm not going to sugarcoat nothing for y'all. Because if I did, then I'd be the media. Like I say again, I give you the media to show you what the media feels about us. Now, if anything is different, then y'all write me up on my comments and then tell me, oh no, Sam, man, it's like this. Show me different. Because right now, they're showing the bigger part of us and it's not all good. It's never all good. It's your man, MrSan44Man. It's the way it is, y'all. We gotta make a change.